Welcome to Growing Up Boomer. I'm your host, Padre, with my co-host, Professor, and this podcast is dedicated to the life and times of the baby boomer generation. The show is loosely scripted, and sometimes we'll go down rabbit holes, and where it leads us to, one will never know. This podcast can be informative, funny, and sometimes irreverent, but most of all, we hope you find it entertaining. Professor, how's it going, my man?
Well, other than having the allergies start to kick in, I'm kind of on the sad side of things.
Oh, man, what's going on?
Well, Hot Lips passed away.
Oh!
Yeah, I mean, Loretta Swit, okay, and MASH. I mean, that was a great show. She was really, really good. When you think, I mean, I'm sure you've watched MASH, and a lot of people watch MASH. I don't know if any of the kids these days even heard of it, but what a great show that was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was incredible. I mean, she was 87. She played Major Margaret Houlihan, which is interesting because her husband's name is Houlihan. Okay, pretty close, Houlihan.
Mm-hmm.
Ran for 11 seasons. It was kind of during the Korean War. I mean, that's what it was about.
Right.
And it was really sad because she was really good. She made that in a lot of ways. She really helped make that show.
Yeah.
Ran for 11 years, and she ended up having an affair with Major Frank Burns. So, it started to break some barriers. It was something else. So, it's based on a book, a novel written by a novel about 3 Army doctors, penned by a former Army surgeon. And but she was on a lot of other stuff too. She was on the stage and Muppet Show, Mission Impossible, Murder, She Wrote. She won Emmys, Golden Globes. I mean, she did pretty good, but she was also very, very much into animal welfare.
Mm-hmm.
She was definitely a leader in that. So she's going to be missed. Okay, and so there you go.
I agree. I also, since we are talking about that, we also lost a, shall we say, a psychedelic rocker by the names of James Lowe.
James Lowe.
Remember the Electric Prunes?
The Electric Prunes. Okay, now I've heard the group. I didn't remember him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me put it this way. Their music was so far out that even I had issues with the music. And I love far out music.
Yeah.
His full name was Thaddeus James Lowe.
Okay.
I born in, I think, 41.
Uh-huh.
1941 or 43, somewhere in that area there. Yeah, 1943.
Mm-hmm.
And, the funny thing about that whole group was that at that time, there was a lot of what they call psychedelic groups, Iron Butterfly, Pink Floyd. If you ever listen to any of the albums, which we had, of Pink Floyd, before they did Dark Side of the Moon,
mm-hmm.
they were way out there.
Mm-hmm.
Way out there.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up getting out of the band in about 71, 72, and he was into producing kids stuff for Disney.
Okay.
And then what happened is that in the 90s, there's happened to be a resurgence of this psychedelic rock, in which he started the band again.
Mm-hmm.
He joined the band again, and like I said, he was the only surviving member of that group. But that was hard to see another rocker go. But
yeah, well, you know what? It's kind of almost becoming a weekly thing for us to talk about somebody.
Right, that's very true.
The
other thing is, what they say.
Yeah.
You never get out of this world alive.
No. Okay, not yet. Anyway, someone's going to try to. Someone's going to prove it at some point, though, right? It's got to happen, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, wait a minute. This I have to say because also I lost. Well, I shouldn't say I lost, but we lost one of my favorite characters in one of my favorite movies. His name was Peter Kwong.
Peter Kwong.
Name
rings a bell.
What's that?
Name rings a bell.
Yeah. He played Rain of the 3 Storms in Big Trouble in Little China.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It must be one of Padre's favorite movies.
Say No More, by far, it's my favorite movie with Kurt Russell.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it is purposely made bad.
Okay.
John Carpenter purposely made this one bad, and it is hilarious.
Okay.
They play the Three Storms. I think it's Carter Wong plays Thunder. Peter Kwong plays Rain.
Uh-huh.
And let me see, James Pax plays Lightning. And it's just a great movie. You need to see it. You know, it's one of those so far out, so ridiculous, you'd love it.
Okay,
But
you keep on telling me about your movies that I have to see. I'm making a list. I don't know if I'm going to get to them all.
I'm going to tell you this right now. He was in one movie called Cooties.
Okay. Okay, that sounds just wonderful.
This was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it over and over. It's about kids that eat these nuggets, chicken nuggets,
Mm-hmm.
and they turn into flesh-eating monsters.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds like a Padre film. Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't like zombie movies, but spoofs on zombie movies, I will watch
Got you, like.
all the time. Now, get this one here. This whole thing. He plays the janitor in this one, but if you watch the opening credits, you will never ever eat chicken again.
Okay.
It's terrible. But the thing is, it only affects children who haven't gone through puberty.
Oh, okay.
So you can eat it as an adult and nothing will happen.
Okay.
It's just so bad. Oh,
Okay.
and you know, and get this, you know who's in it?
Nope.
Elijah Wood.
Okay.
And they kind of every so often make a little references to hobbits. What are you going to sneak around here like a hobbit?
Oh, Padre, you're killing me. Yeah,
And
tell me.
Jorge Garcia from Lost is in it.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, so it is fine. But and one real quick thing, there was a movie on Apple called Fountain of Youth.
Okay.
I don't know if you have Apple streaming service.
Well, no, we do, and we don't. We're off of it, and as soon as I make a list of stuff I want to watch, I'll
You're on
join it again and watch what I want to watch, and then I'll turn it off again. Okay.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now, is that it's a mystery action type of film. It's pretty good. Natalie
Okay.
Portman's in it. And,
Okay.
but the thing is I'm not watching this. I'm saying to myself, you know, Fountain of Youth, I'd be happy with Fountain of Middle Age. Okay. All right. I'd be
Yeah.
happy with Fountain of Middle Age.
Yeah, at this particular point, I agree.
Well, hey, Professor, what do you say we get into the podcast? All right.
Okay, we have a few things to go over here.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? This podcast is about the way we were in 1955.
Yep.
And I think you've got some grocery prices for us.
Oh man, I can't wait to tell you some of this stuff. Okay, this is just crazy. So, apples, just generally speaking, back in 1955, 2 pounds for 27 cents.
What-
Sounds pretty good. Now you're looking at least $1 a pound.
Yeah.
Okay. Bananas used to be 2 pounds for 29 cents, and now you can get them for roughly 50 to 60 cents a pound. Okay. Now, beans, the Van Camp's baked beans, you know those?
Mhm.
Used to be 10 cents a can, $3.74. Well, for 2 cans, so that's, okay. Well, ground beef used to be 39 cents a pound, $5.80 a pound and up, depending on the cut and what you want. And if it's
Yeah.
little minimum fat and this or that. Bread, okay, 18 cents a pound. Wonder Bread is now $2.47.
Oh,
Okay, butter, okay, 63 cents a pound, like $4.70 a pound now on an average. You can get less, you can get more, depending. Let's see what else. Oh, your favorite. Well, one of your favorites. Okay, Velveeta.
yeah, baby.
Used to be 79 cents for a 2 pound package. Now it's $5.18 per pound. Ooh. Chicken.
Wait, before you go on, I got to
Okay.
take this. Okay, as much Velveeta as I've eaten, you would think that my arteries are clogged.
Okay.
I used to eat a pound of bacon for
Okay.
breakfast with
Okay.
a dozen pancakes.
Wow.
I had my doctor says, well, you know what? When a man of your age,
Right.
I like to get a chest scan every few years. So I had the
Right.
chest scan. Everything's clear.
Great.
He's going
Great.
like, oh yeah, you look great.
You say a chest scan.
Yeah, in other words, not a scan, but actually, yeah, a chest scan. In which case, they look at the heart, they look at the lungs to make sure
Okay.
there's nothing there.
Okay.
There's nothing there.
Okay.
So I
All
mean,
right.
I'm thinking like, man, all the stuff I used to eat.
Yeah. Well, okay. Must be good genes. Then there you go.
Yeah, it's got to be the DNA. Nothing
Got to
else.
be the got to be the DNA. Yeah.
Can't be my diet.
Well, it doesn't sound like it. Chicken, 45 cents a pound. Now you're looking at $2.99 pound and up. Let's see. Oh, Oreos. Got it. Oreos used to be 39 cents a package. It's now $3.99 and up. Ritz crackers.
Oh, there's
30
nothing better than lard and sugar, right?
I know. 32 cents for a 1 pound box of Ritz crackers. Now it's $3.88.
Woo.
Crisco, 22 cents for a 1 pound can, $4.12 now. Now, how much are you paying for eggs per dozen? Do you know?
On this
Ballpark?
year, I always wait for them to come on sale. But if you go to Trader Joe's down here, it was like $3.99.
Okay, because I was just at Costco yesterday, and they had it $3.89 a dozen. Now, if you go to Safeway, you're talking $7 or whatever it is. 1955, 57 cents a dozen.
Oh.
Wow, amazing. Flour. Okay, the Gold Seal flour. It's
Mhm.
$2.98 now. Used to be 41 cents. Okay, and well, milk. Okay, I don't know what you're paying for milk, but Walmart's got a quart for $1.64. Used to be 22 cents. And one of my favorites. Okay, I can't believe I used to pay 26 cents for a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli. Mm.
Ooh.
Mm. Yum, 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 yum. It's $1.24 now. And your other favorite, we talked about your first one, Spam, used to be 39 cents a pound. Excuse me, a 12-ounce can. It's $1.90 now. Things have changed.
The prices have anyway.
I'm talking about the prices, yes. Okay. Of course, that was a few years ago,
Yeah.
just 70 years ago. So wow.
Yeah.
But
Just think we were alive during those prices.
I was alive. Well, Chef Boyardee, I remember
Yeah.
eating this stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
not the Spam, but the ravioli. Did I have Oreos in? Yeah, probably had Oreos in. Obviously Wonder Bread.
Oreos.
Yeah.
You know who was before Oreos? Hydrox.
Hydrox. Yeah, I remember Hydrox.
Hydrox.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Well, you know what? Also during that time, you remember in history in 1955.
A lot of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, January 19th, President Eisenhower presided over the first television presidential news conference. That
Right.
was big. You get this, it took place in the Indian Treaty Room. No one knows why it's called the Indian Treaty Room.
Well, that's interesting because when the White House burned down in 1814,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that was prior to a lot of the Indian Wars, okay,
Mhm.
which was definitely, they were around them, but they were basically 1830 to the 1860s,
Right.
probably, okay, was the bulk of them, okay, maybe a little bit later than that. And so
Mhm.
when the White House was rebuilt, I bet they had an Indian treaty room then because they were trying to make treaties with the Native Americans.
Well,
Of course, they never held them. They never stuck to them, but that's a different story.
The thing is, on this one here, the Indian Treaty Room, as you're right, was actually it was the Naval Center, which was completed in 1880.
Ah, okay.
It's that big building that's right next door. It's now called the Eisenhower Executive Meeting.
Okay, got it.
And they thought exactly what you were saying, that the treaties were probably either negotiated there or the treaties were kept there, and they're not. And so everybody looks and they just still can't figure it out why in the world it was called the Indian Treaty Room. It used to be called the Naval Nautical Room
Okay.
when it was first done because it's all got a nautical theme and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. Wow.
interesting.
Well,
You
on
know?
February 9th of the same year, 55, the American Federation of Labor and the Congress of Industrial Organizations, the AFL-CIO, merged into the AFL-CIO, which everyone's heard about now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was big time. Oh,
Big time, yeah.
get this. On March 16th, President Eisenhower upheld the use of nuclear weapons in the event of war.
Well, okay. So are we glad that he did that?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. Have you ever read the book Eisenhower's Bluff?
No.
Okay. Excellent book. It is on this subject. This is when China finally became all communist, and they were talking about taking Taiwan even back then.
Right. Well, I've read Eisenhower, the book Eisenhower, not that particular one. So I am familiar what you're talking about. Yeah.
So what happened was that he then upheld this, right? And his whole bluff was that he would never use nuclear weaponry, but the enemies didn't need to know that.
Exactly. Right.
You know, as long as they thought he would use it,
right.
All that mattered.
Yeah. Well, yep. That's the bluff. Yep. On April 5th, Winston Churchill resigned as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He had health issues. Mm-hmm. So that was, I mean, think about, his tenure in England through all the war and everything else. So, yeah, that started to change the direction of England.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, even though he quit for health reasons, he lived till 1965.
Oh, yeah.
He was 90 years old.
Yep.
The dude, what did they say? He drank like a fish, man.
And in cigars, are you kidding? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes that he made is when he was obviously intoxicated, and a woman came up to him and said, "Mr. Churchill, you are drunk." Mm-hmm. And he looked at her and he said, "Madam, and you are ugly, but in the morning I shall be sober."
That's Winston Churchill. Oh yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah. And then on April 12th, the Salk vaccine for polio was approved by the FDA. And I remember, let's see, if I was 6, probably just a year or two after that, I remember in elementary school, I was first grade, second grade, I don't remember which grade, I was given my first vaccine. It was a shot. And I remember all the kids are going into the gym, and I'll just tell you my little story. Okay. And I didn't want to get a shot. Okay. And they had this very rotund woman there, and kids were just latching on, big hugs, and getting their shot. I was one of them. So anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We all had the shots.
Yeah.
Oh, how about on April 15th, right? Well, it got opened up the first McDonald's restaurant franchise in the Plains. Illinois.
De Plainton, Illinois.
The founder?
Yeah, Ray Kroc.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray Kroc. Yeah. And he ended up, obviously opening a bunch of, the corporation opened a bunch of them, but he was quite a philanthropist, and his wife too.
Yeah. Well, did you see the movie, The Founder?
No.
Does not put him in a good light.
Really?
Oh, just horrible.
Huh.
It took advantage of Mac McDonald and Richard McDonald.
Oh no! As far as him gaining, the rights to everything else, yes, no, he was pretty relentless as far as that's concerned. But later in life, after he made his millions and millions and millions, he started to be philanthropy. Yeah,
we call that penance.
Yeah, penance, exactly. Yeah. So,
after all the bad stuff I've done, I need to do better.
Yeah, really.
When you get older, it's your way of trying to make it into heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to tell you, my old partner used to was a assistant manager at McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
And if you remember, they had the Burger College.
Yep.
And they sent all management there.
You had to go.
Yeah, you had to go.
Yep.
Of course, this guy is a joker.
Okay.
He just everything's a joke with him. Me and him get along great. We laugh about everything. Well, of course, they were talking about the Big Mac.
Okay.
In which case they were saying, of course, it's named in honor of Mac McDonald.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the brother is Richard, or goes by Dick McDonald. And what does my friend say? Well, it's a good thing you didn't name him after the other brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Hell, and he said all the heads turned, because he always sat at the back row, turned around and looked at him, and he said, "This is probably not a place I really want to work at."
Yeah, probably not.
Sense of humor.
They're too serious. Yeah. I believe that. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what happened on June 3rd?
What's that? What's that? What happened?
Oh, Stan Musial hit his 300th home run.
Baby.
Yeah. Stan the man.
Yeah. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to get an autographed baseball at one of our shows.
Uh-huh.
But this is what happened. I couldn't go.
Oh.
So I knew this guy that was going, right? And I threw him a ball. I said, get Stan Musial. They also had Ernie Banks there.
Oh, wow.
So I have a baseball with Stan the man and Ernie Mr. Cub Banks on the same baseball.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is that behind you?
No, that's Sandy Koufax.
Okay, got it. Okay.
No, my other ones are off to the side.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And you may be. I have Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford.
Oh, wow. See, there you go, man.
Mm.
Yep. I'll tell you a little. Well, well, June 19th, I have to do this one. So okay. June 19th, Mickey Mantle, who was my guy, hit his 100th career home run. And a little side story. When I'm going to guess I was about 8, something like that. We were living in Jersey. And my dad took me down to D.C. for business. He had a business meeting or something he had to go to, but he took me along with him. And we went to see the Yankees play the Senators, Washington Senators. And I remember we were in right field, and I remember out in the outfield. And I remember ball coming close. I couldn't get that. But after the game, we ended up staying in the same hotel as the Yankees. And we went down to dinner, and we ended up having dinner with Gil McDougall. And I used to remember all of them. It was about 3 of them we ended up having dinner with. And then after dinner in the lobby of the hotel, I'm a little itty bitty little thing, 8 years old. Casey Stengel entertained me and a few other kids, for like 20 minutes. And I got autographs of everybody and so on. And then I left for college, and my mother threw my baseball cards and my Yankees thing away.
But you forgave her, I'm sure.
Of course, you have to forgive mom. You know how it is. So
yeah, I think all the moms did. My mom did the same thing.
Yeah. Well, what was up with that? I don't understand. All I did when I was young, I was playing. We were flipping cards, doing all trading cards, doing all that stuff. And I was into it. How could she even think? She couldn't even ask me, "Do you want to keep them?"
No.
Yeah,
I think he hit his last home run in 1968. He ended up for about 536 homers.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow, yeah, he did pretty good.
Good. He did. Yeah.
Hey, how about in June 27th, Illinois enacts the first automotive seatbelt legislation.
In 1955, yep.
Yeah. But the law did not require cars to have seatbelts. They just made them to be seatbelt ready.
Yeah, I think it was 62 when they required seatbelts.
You might be right there, because if you remember, you get the old cars and they had like little brackets on the hump.
Right.
By the door, and that's where you hold your seatbelts.
Yeah. It was just a lap belt. That's all it was. It was just a lap belt.
Not a shoulder harness. It was you're right. Absolutely.
I remember we were in our I think it was a Delta 88 Oldsmobile. And it was probably a 59, something like that. And my mother was driving, and I was laying down. Maybe I was a little younger, laying down on the front seat, and we were driving to Connecticut or something. And she stopped short, and boom, I went right into the dash. She was afraid I had a concussion. I was fine. Everything was fine. Anyway, so I'm actually glad that seatbelts came in. They have definitely saved lives. It took a while. Yeah. And you know that in July 11th, Eisenhower, he's the one that signed the legislation requiring "In God We Trust" appear on all currency.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that, and also in the Pledge of Allegiance
Yep.
as well.
Yep. Yep.
One nation under God. He also
One nation under God. Yeah.
same year, but he also did it the same thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. And what happened on July 17th? You know this one.
Well, I do know this one, but I just don't remember if it's a small world after all.
Not there.
I wasn't there then. I know it wasn't there. It wasn't there. But Disneyland opened in Anaheim, and boy, the world changed, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, the whole thing on Disneyland was that if you remember, amusement parks were never really a clean place.
No.
You know, they were usually kind of seedy and
Yeah.
that nature, and that's what his wife said. So why would you want to open a theme park, or not a theme park, but a amusement park? They're so dirty. And he told her, "It's not this one."
Right.
You know.
Right.
And do you remember the Home of the Future? I don't know. It used to be like a dome, and it was cut. It used to be like a oval type of thing, and they had like a cut.
Well, okay, you have to keep in mind you grew up on the West Coast. Okay. I grew up on the East Coast. I didn't go to Disneyland until I was an adult. Okay. When I took my kids down. So we're talking from my first time was probably, well, let's see, you were born in 79. Probably the late 80s.
Oh, you were, yeah. It was gone by then. The thing that was so funny that they used to have what was it? Space Station X1, which was a colony on the moon.
Uh-huh.
And that was supposed to happen by 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the movies, maybe.
Yeah, really. So, and I think, which is, to me, it's kind of amazing when you think about it. It sounds like a lot of money, but not if you look at it now. I guess there was $17 million to build that park in 1955. I mean, and how much, I should have looked this up. How much because there's a new one that just opened up in Europe. And it was like $1 billion. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. It's a lot more complicated now, but I think it's 17 million to adjust in inflation is probably pretty close to about 75 million.
At least.
Today's money.
Yeah. In today's money.
Yeah. But again, it's nothing to what they have now.
Oh,
I mean, all the stuff they have now is unbelievable.
I know. It's just incredible.
Of course, there's entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
In other words, so what happened is when they opened it, there was a guy off to the side with a ladder, and he was charging half price for the people to get in. And you had to climb the ladder and jump down.
Man.
American way or what?
That is the American way. Jeez Louise. Yeah. Hey, on July 17th, okay, this is interesting. Arco, Idaho became the first city in the world to be lit by nuclear power.
Wow. Yeah. Do you think
it all started here?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
I think it started back then. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that's something crazy. Yeah.
And then what did Eisenhower do? Raise the minimum wage from 75 cents to $1 an hour.
Right. Well, so you know what? So when you just went back to saying 17 million for Disneyland would equate to about 70 million now. Okay. And we're talking about 75 cents to $1 an hour, and it's roughly $7.50 an hour now. That almost is on par.
Yeah.
Anyway, just whatever.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless you're work here in California in the fast food industry.
Exactly. I know that. I got that. Now, interesting that on August 28th, Emmett Till, who was a black teenager from Chicago, he was murdered in Mississippi. And that kind of started really ignite the civil rights movement. Yeah.
You're right. I mean, the whole thing was that they beat him so bad he was unrecognizable. Yeah. And his mother insisted that he have an open coffin. Yeah. Because they wanted to see what she said. I want the world to see what they did.
To see what they did to my boy. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Horrible. I mean, think that we're not that far removed from our birth dates when, because of the color of your skin, you could not play baseball.
Right.
We're not that far removed from that.
No, we're 50 years. No, a little. No, 50 years.
Yeah, 1946 was when they first allowed Jackie Robinson to come.
It's 46. Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is what the killer is as well, is that when we were alive, segregation was at its full strength. Jim Crow laws, all of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we until the news, you and I, since where we lived, really didn't really know, and the limited news really didn't know the heartache, the oppression that African Americans felt back then, because we're in our own little worlds, and the news isn't as covered as it is today.
Well, you were out west, and I was in the north.
Right.
And all that stuff was basically happening in the south. The major stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't spread around to the big cities too, but the major news was in the southern states. Yeah. Crazy.
It was horrible.
Right. So,
and get this.
What?
In September 24th.
Yep.
Eisenhower suffers a heart attack while he's on vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have called it quits. Instead,
he didn't do that. No.
Next year he runs for president again.
Yeah. Well, what's a heart attack? Okay.
Yeah. It's nothing.
No biggie. And now, interesting, on the 22nd, RCA Records paid $35,000 to Sun Records for Elvis Presley's contract. And it was really important because it included all the sides Presley recorded at Sun, all the sides. And they re-released Presley's 5 Sun singles, and it just promoted everything up to the top of the charts, country, R&B, and the pop markets. So it was a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and just change the music industry just completely.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty good. Oh, and on December 1st, this is when Rose Parks was arrested for refusing to move to the back of the bus.
Yep. I mean, 55 was a turning point in the civil rights year. I mean, in civil rights, that was really that's when it really kicked in. Yeah.
She has a very interesting story.
She does.
Yeah, and they talk about this event, and she says that she had a long day. She was coming back from work. She was tired, and there was no way she was getting up to move to the back of the bus. She said, I just had it. It was one of those days. I was tired. There was no way I was moving to the back of the bus. I don't think she realized how pivotal that moment was.
No, at the time she didn't. No, of course not.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, like I said, that was just unbelievable.
It was.
Of course, on December 8th.
Nothing consequential on December 8th.
You're not going to let me, you're not going to end this section without you knowing that the Brooklyn Dodger catcher Roy Campanella won his third MVP award.
Oh, I knew that was important to you. Yeah. He is a great catcher. Really great catcher.
You definitely. Well, think about this when you have Yogi Berra and Roy Campanella in the same city.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know.
Think about the outfield.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Think about the outfield.
Oh yeah. Maris. Yeah.
Duke Snyder.
Yeah.
And Willie Mays, probably one of the greatest ball players to ever play the game.
I know.
In one city.
I know. I mean, it was incredible baseball. Okay. It's almost a shame that they ended up leaving, so they couldn't be crosstown rivals. Okay, so
they're still rivals.
Well, I know they're still rivals. Yeah, but they have to go. Now it's not crosstown. Now they got to go cross state.
Hey, you know what? It almost takes just about as long now instead of driving to New York.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're right. So, yeah, but other stuff that was crazy. I mean, I the entertainment stuff. I'm trying to remember some of the stuff I remember, but of course, there was something really happening because we were just talking about civil rights and everything else. On January 7th, Marian Anderson, she became the first African American to perform at the New York Metropolitan Opera, and that was a big deal.
Oh, you ain't kidding!
That was a big deal.
You are so right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And you know what happened on the 26th?
What was that?
The musical Peter Pan with Mary Martin
Mm-hmm.
and Cyril Richard that closed at the Winter Garden after 152 performances. Okay. And Peter Pan, I mean, how many times have you seen Peter Pan?
Me?
Yeah.
I've never seen Peter Pan.
No way.
I've seen the animated.
You've never seen the movies?
Well, yeah, I've seen the movie.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about the plays or something.
Oh no, I didn't see that. I was too young.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't too young, but
The movie,
no,
I
didn't
think
see the
I've seen
play.
1 or 2 times.
Oh no, I remember as a kid I watched that almost every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least for a few years in a row.
Yeah, I was never a big animated Disney fan. You know why?
Okay. No.
There wasn't enough violence in them. Okay? I mean, the Looney Tunes, right? How many times did not Donald Duck, how many times did Daffy Duck get like a stick of dynamite in his mouth and
Oh yeah. You like that,
or
huh?
get shot with a shotgun in his bills?
Yeah.
That's entertainment.
Okay, that must have been your whatever. Anyway, that's entertainment. So anyway, Peter Pan was a good show.
Now you know
did
why I
enjoy it.
like those John Wick movies.
I could tell that. Yeah, you've been liking like stuff since you're just a little sprite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Roadrunner.
Yeah, the Roadrunner's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
Roadrunner's good. I mean, I enjoyed those too. I
Yeah.
got to say, I did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What else you got on entertainment?
That's on the 24th. The original Broadway production of Tennessee Williams' play Cat on Hot Tin Roof
Oh,
opened. Okay, at the Morosco Theater, 694 performances,
mhm.
and back on March 30th, it's only the 27th Academy Award. Now, where are we at? The 100 and something now? Whatever. Okay. It honored the best films released in 54 on the waterfront, won 8 Oscars. 8 Oscars. Best Picture, Best
Uh-huh.
Director, Best Actor, Supporting Actress, Film Editing, and Original Score. Kind of cleaned up.
That was a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I did like the line, I could have been a contender.
I could have been a contender. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
have somebody.
I could have been somebody. Yeah. Also entertained May 2nd, Tennessee Williams. He got the Pulitzer Prize for Cat on the Hot Tin Roof.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And on the 5th, those damn Yankees, opened at the 46th Street Theater, 1,022 performances.
What's that one song? What Olita Wants?
What Olita wants, what Olita gets.
Yeah.
Others? Well, you heard
Lady and the Tramp.
The Lady and the Tramp. Absolutely. That was released on the 22nd.
You've just described me and Kathy.
The Lady and the Tramp. Okay, there you. Okay, there you go. But one that I was a kid got to kick down. The $64,000 question.
Oh,
It was the game show opened up on June 7th. Okay, and now why am I getting that mixed up with Groucho Marx?
oh, he had a game show too.
Yeah, he had something, but he was saying, and that's a $64,000 question.
Mhm.
Didn't he do that? So I must be getting my shows mixed up.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Anyway,
He was pretty funny I remember this one time he had this one guy, and they were talking. You know how you interview the people, before the game show.
yeah.
It was like the Groucho Marx show, and the guy said he had like 11 kids or something like that.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Man, you know what? I like to smoke cigars, but now and then I just do take it out of my mouth." I used to love the Marx Brothers.
Yeah, they're hysterical.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that one scene with Chico. Right, it was Chico. It was Groucho, Chico,
No.
and who was
Oh gosh.
Chico, and I can't think of his name. Harpo.
Harpo Marx.
Harpo Marx.
Yeah.
They're in court, and
Okay,
it's your witness, and Chico goes up and he goes, "What has a trunk? What's gray, big, and has a trunk?" And Groucho Marx goes, "That's irrelevant." He goes, "That's a lie."
That's the Marx Brothers. Yeah, hysterical.
They were awesome.
They were,
I enjoy them.
Yeah. Now on
I
June.
that the boomers, the Zoomers don't know is the Marx Brothers.
Oh no, they probably never heard of them. Yeah. On the 30th,
Mhm.
the Johnny Carson show premiered on CBS, and that ran for just so many years, as we
Yeah.
talked about recently.
Oh
Yeah.
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 The Tonight Show or whatever it was.
Yeah. The late night show, the Johnny Carson show.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what it was. Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, and then so he had that, and so I guess what happened, he ended up taking over the Tonight Show from
right,
Jack Paar.
right. That's
But it
it.
was the Johnny Carson show first, right?
Right.
And he had
right.
his own show, and then he
Mhm.
took that over. Yeah.
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 Like most of the late night guys usually have. You're right. Usually have their own show, and then they get stepped up to the big thing. And you're a Johnny Carson aficionado anyway.
Yeah. It was good. Now
So-
I know there's a musician that the youngins have never ever heard of, and that's Lawrence Welk. The Lawrence Welk show debuted on July 2nd in 1955.
old anxiety.
Oh, the anxiety. Yeah, entertainment and stuff. So you know what was the first published on August 27th?
What was that?
Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh wow!
Oh, why did I think that was around for just centuries? Not literally, but yeah, a long time. But so that's pretty cool. You ever get one of those books and read them and take a look?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
I
interesting.
right? Yeah, like that in the almanac. You got to read them sometimes. You know.
It's kind of like this when Disneyland was celebrating its 50th
Anniversary.
year in existence.
Yeah.
We were here at home watching TV, right? 50 years and and then my son turns to me and he says, "Hey, Dad, you're older than Disneyland." And that wasn't so bad, but then he goes, and they've been around forever.
Yeah, right. That was just a little extra little dig. Yeah. Thanks, son. Yeah. So, September 30th, we've talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
James Dean, he died in a car accident.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm.
So that was his year.
Yeah.
So, did you ever watch Alfred Hitchcock?
Oh, yeah. Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Oh, yeah.
Yep,
That was
yep.
a great TV show.
Absolutely, that was a great show. I mean, the youngins should ought to look that up. They really okay. Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock. They should should go back and find them. That premiered October 2nd of '55. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
How about Captain Kangaroo, man?
No, Captain Kangaroo. Yep, I remember Captain Kangaroo. That was in October that year. It debuted.
The Mickey Mouse Club?
I watched it every night. I was home in time. Dinner was at 6, but I got home in time to watch the Mickey Mouse Club because I had a crush on Annette Funicello. Shh.
Oh, yeah. Well, things happened in sports as well, too.
Well, hang on a second, because one other thing that happened on October 20th.
I jumped the gun here?
No, hang on one sec. Okay, on October 26th, okay, the first edition of the Village Voice was published.
Oh,
And I have to tell you, from growing up a lot and living in Manhattan, especially during my teen years, I would watch that all the time. I'd read that all the time. It's a great paper.
I was going to say that was your thing.
Yeah, that was an East Coast thing. I don't think you guys. Yeah. All right. Now, what are we on to now?
So let's go into sports. What do you think?
Okay, I'm ready.
All righty. The NBA champions, the Syracuse Nationals. Where are they? Who knows?
Never heard of them.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't.
yeah. I mean, there was only like 10 teams in the NBA back then.
Yeah, back then. Yeah. So, and who were the NFL champions? Do you remember?
Oh, the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns, and
Yeah.
that was before. Yeah, it's before the Super Bowls. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. There was just the NFL champ. Yeah.
Right. And who was the Stanley Cup champs?
Oh, the Detroit Red Wings.
You ain't kidding, man.
Yeah, and the Rose Bowl. Ohio State was over USC.
Oh, yeah. That was a big time when it always was either USC or UCLA would represent
Right.
but after a while it was just now it's everybody.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep.
One last thing before we leave this one, and who was the World Series Major League Baseball champions?
It wasn't my team. That was your team.
It was everybody's team, the Brooklyn
Oh,
Dodgers.
God, everybody's team. Everybody in your house. Okay.
No, you know
That's not true. Yeah, it's true.
what is not true.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you right now, there is no doubt in my mind that my second son was switched at birth.
Oh, you know what? I think we've talked about that.
There's,
Something must have happened. Yeah, the hospital must have mixed him up.
yeah, there has to be. How can he be a Giants fan? How does that happen?
Because controversy just had to be in your household. You had to have something to razz each other about.
I'll be honest with you. I think he did it just to infuriate me.
There you go.
Because he can't get me upset about anything except the Dodgers. That's it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, you know what, Professor? It's getting a little long. What do you say we finish this up next week?
Well, I think there's still a bunch of stuff to cover, all the different topics. So yeah, I think that sounds like a plan because there's a lot of other interesting things.
There's a lot of stuff that happened in 1955 that people have to realize that everything that's based now always comes from the past.
Yeah.
How things come from the past.
Yep.
So let's pick this up next week. What do you say?
I agree. Okay.
All right, man. You have
Sounds
a great
good.
one. Okay.
You too. Talk later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'd like to thank you for listening and remind you if you happen to have any baby boomer topics you'd like us to cover, just email us at growingupboomer@gmail.com. And until next time, may God bless.